What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Let me deal with this real quick. Try to give us some understanding of what we're dealing with and who we're dealing with. A lot of people are making mention of the fact that the murderer in Buffalo, who killed all those people in Buffalo a few days ago, people are making mention of the fact that he was arrested without incident, was brought in standing on 2 feet, and of course is making people feel some kind of way. But we have to be very careful to not get in our emotions when we see things like this, especially once we've seen them repeated over and over and over again. So we will look and see, well, man, um, all these black people that got killed that were unarmed, that may have just raised their voice or asked a question or complied totally or ran or whatever you want to say, but still got murdered by police, right? Then you see the Dylan Roofs of the world, you see the Peyton Grindens of the world, or whatever his name is. You see them. You can even go back to freaking Ted Kaczynski. You can go back to the Unabomber, and they always get brought in on 2 feet. And we go into an uproar about that instead of taking ourselves out of the emotional side of it and letting these repetitive examples be an example of how America loves its murderers. This is the nation that we live in. America loves its murderers. They love Charles Manson. Charles Manson is celebrated. They love Ted Bundy. They love Ted Kaczynski, as I mentioned. They love all of these presidents. Whoa, wait a minute. The presidents? What do you mean? You said America loves its murderers. Yeah, that's what I said. Because you can go all the way back to George Washington. You can go all the way back to these guys. They were murderers. They owned slaves. They were straight up murderers. You can bring it up to the modern day, and you can talk about Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton and George Bush and all these guys who have bombed and attacked nations and killed hundreds of thousands to millions of people. These are murderers dressed in nice suits and ties. So when you hear the word murderer, we always think about something different. Or we may think about the clown who did what he did in Buffalo. But America got murderers all the way up and down the scale, from the streets to the suites. And they are heralded and lifted up as heroes. Some of the worst of the worst, some of the worst people that you ever want to read about in a history book. The spin that has been placed on their life and on their character leads us to believe that these were good people, because that's the spin that's been put on them. But the truth be told, many of them were the lowest of the low. Many of them were killers, they were perverts, they were liars, they were thieves. And I ain't talking about killing and stealing on the little petty levels that we do it on. I'm talking about for all of the marbles. Matter of fact, they not playing for all the marbles. They playing for the marble manufacturing company. So the thing that we have to learn to do is separate our emotions from the reality that we see in front of us, and then start making the decisions on how do we fix our reality. And I've mentioned this over and over again, and I'm going to keep mentioning it because it is a part of a teaching that I subscribe to. And that is the concept of separation. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, that black people need to separate. Just gonna say it straight out. But we have this thing in our heart that we want to force. We just gonna force our way. We gonna force it. We gonna force them to love us. Meanwhile, any attempts to create that kind of uh, peace and that kind of connection between an open enemy and us is met with more aggression. So we make the mistake of finding ourselves spending way more time trying to unify with an enemy than we do trying to unify with ourselves. That is a sickness. It's a sickness that we have to snap out of. It's a spell that we are under that we have to snap out of. So to see what happened in Buffalo, it was terrible, man. I saw the footage. It was terrible for everybody. But the slap in the face comes from the system that allows these individuals to just be humbly taken in, because as I said, there's a sector of America that was somewhere rooting him on. When they saw that, they was like happy that it happened. So I'm always an anti-surprise guy. I'm against that, being surprised when you see these types of things. Stop being surprised, man. Let's just move. Let's just get some work done to mobilize and organize ourselves, so we won't have to continue to make these kind of complaints about, well, why was Dylan Roof able to get a hamburger? Because America loves her murderers. America loves her thieves and killers and robbers. They love them. These are heroes to these individuals. They're heroes. This man, in some people's eyes, this man took one for the team. That's how they looking at it. Man, this dude took one for the team. Boy, he went out there and he gave it all up. He sacrificed it all for the greater good. Now, they may not say it. The ones you work with and the ones you see, they may not say it. But a lot of them think that way. So if we continue to allow ourselves to get heavily dipped in our emotions, then it's going to distort our clarity. We won't have clarity of thought to actually move the way we need to move on. We won't have that. And that is something that is mandatory in this day and age. Because the worst thing that we can do in a critical situation is let emotion take over, and the process of thinking out and thinking through a situation gets lost in that. Because now we're angry, and now we're not making scientific mathematical decisions. And one of the greatest mathematical decisions is, if it don't fit, you're not going to be able to force it. And we are in a nation that we don't fit in, simply because there's always been a power play in place to keep us from fitting in and to push us out. We leaning on the door this way, we pushing on the door, and they on the other side of the door pushing it that way, trying to keep us out. We want to force our way in when we have more than enough power to build our own. So that's the message I want to relay to y'all. You will never be able to receive justice in a country that was designed and built on injustice. It's not gonna happen. It don't go together. It's not something that they want. Doesn't matter how many signs you draw and hold up. Doesn't matter how many times, how many people are outside of the building chanting and marching. It doesn't matter. Let's use that energy to build our own. All right, man, it's your big brother K-Rino. Tune in to K-Rino Radio tonight. I'll go further into this topic. 12 midnight central on kpft.org. Peace.